Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off with some good news here in Trinidad and Tobago. Thursday's court ruling on jet ski operations at Pigeon Point and Boca Reef Marine Park has been described as balanced and fair, with both parties claiming success. Justice Shalane Peer upheld an injunction previously granted to the Tobago House of Assembly, but announced an intention to grant jet ski operators access to the spaces as well. This access, however, is conditional, and I will add limited, with 9 restrictions outlined by the judge, including no entry to the Nylon pool, where a lot of people love to bathe and so forth, no soliciting of clients on the beach, no stunts while riding jet skis, no minors permitted on the watercrafts, speed limits in the park, and maintaining a safe distance from the shoreline, the bathing area, and the floating water park. Attorney Chrislyn Moore, who represented the THA, said her clients are satisfied that their concerns were heard by the judge. In an interview with Guardian Media, Secretary of Legal Affairs Adana Joseph Wallace said it was important to remember the existing injunction remains in effect until the court order with the specific stipulations is made. So don't go and try to enjoy yourself, you jet skiers. Wait until the new court order comes into effect, in other words. However, she said the question of enforcement of regulation remains, and that is what I am concerned about as well. What the court has done is what the THA cannot do, which is make regulations. That is not a Schedule 5 matter. That is national security. That is something for the central government, and therein is the problem, or therein lies the problem. And that's the question. What is going to be done to actually enforce these new regulations? Will there be more lifeguards? Can the lifeguards really effectively enforce these new rules and regulations? And will there be need for law enforcement officers to be present at these areas as well? What is really going to take place? Because, and I'm telling you, as I just said in my other news update, that the consequences for violating these type of laws should be extremely severe. It should be extreme. People say, well, why? Because every time you violate these type of laws, you're endangering the lives of others. It's just like reckless drivers, those who speed. When you speed on the roadway, you are not just only endangering your life, You're endangering the lives of those that may be in your vehicle, and also you're endangering the lives of everyone else around you. It's the same with overtaking when you're not supposed to overtake. You are endangering your life, as I said before, but also the passengers and the driver of the vehicle that is coming in towards your direction, and yet they are on the legal side of the roadway. So people are supposed to start to make present time, even if there's no accident, even if no one ends up being harmed or anything like that. People who commit these type of violations, in my opinion, should end up facing time in prison, because what you're doing is literally what you're doing is risking the lives of everyone else. And it shows that you do not care. It shows that you do not care. All you care about is your own self. All you care about is being able to reach your destination in time or on time, no matter the consequences. And that cannot continue. Police say the 3 people arrested during Wednesday's protest by supporters of Kaya Sili in Port of Spain were charged under the Emergency Powers Regulations and the Summary Offences Act. Sounds a lot like what was taking place under Rowley and PNM, and sounds a lot like what the UNC used to oppose in the past, arresting protesters for just standing up for their rights. Protest organizer Alyssa Phillip, her mother Camille Carrasquero, and social media personality Jason De Silva were released after 8 p.m. on Thursday after spending just over 24 hours in custody. Jason De Silva. Jason De Silva wasn't even in the protest at that point in time. But that arrogant police officer who believes he's above the law and who believes he's a god unto himself basically arrested Jason De Silva because he made a statement while walking off with his girlfriend that officer is acting like a woman. And that is what caused the officer to say, let's get him. Yeah, let's get him, because how he dare, how can he, or how dare he blasphemed against me, a god in the police service. Yes, that is how police officers behave. Jason De Silva didn't do anything, anything to deserve being arrested. And then, when he was being pursued by the officers, he knelt down in the middle of the road, put his hands up in the air, and surrendered. But making a very bold and powerful statement, hands up, don't shoot. Right? So at the end of the day, and you know what, I think they ended up saying that he was obstructing, he obstructed the free passageway or whatever. So if he continued to move, you would have said he would have resisted arrest. The man stayed where he was located and knelt down and surrendered. You say he obstructed. Now, of course, maybe he could have surrendered to the side of the road. But come on, man. Come on. It's not like, anyhow you take it, it's not like anybody could have been passing there while the police were pursuing him in any case. It is ridiculous. The charges that they're trying to lay against him are ridiculous. He did not commit any sort of crime. And Jason De Silva, my brother, you and I don't always agree on any issue. And I think a lot of the times recently after the government won the elections that you opposed things that you should not even be opposing. But you were justified in many of the others. And in this case, you stood up for what is right. And I hope, unlike what happened in the past, I hope once you win this case, I hope you actually take legal action against the state. You deserve millions of dollars in compensation after what took place here. Your character continues to be destroyed both by the government and the TTPS. I have known you online for umpteen years now, and I've never seen you promoting gangs. I've never seen you promoting any sort of violence. You always call for peaceful protests. And yet they're trying to demonize you and make you look like some big criminal. Jason De Silva, you deserve justice. And the sweetest justice will be to make the state have to compensate you with millions of dollars. Sue them, and sue them big this time around. Getting back to the report, police sources said yesterday they were each placed on a bond of $40,000 signed by a justice of the peace and expected to appear before a Port of Spain court on Monday. Superintendent Edgar Baird of the Port of Spain Division laid charges against Philip and Carrasquero under Regulation 11A of the Emergency Powers Regulations. That is what the government is encouraging. Arresting of protesters for just standing up for their rights simply because Queen Kamala doesn't want anyone to oppose her government. And talking about national security. Kamala, we're not falling for that nonsense anymore. We are seeing and we know what your intentions are. You don't want anyone to have the right to be able to peacefully protest against your government the same way how Rowley didn't want to do it. And you went to a whole new level now. Stipulating certain zones that people cannot let even the unions coming out and say what you're doing is nonsense. Because now you're actually stipulating certain zones that and people cannot protest. You are becoming a greater dictator than Rowley, which is something I never thought was even possible. Under the regulation, it is an offense for anyone to attempt either orally or through other means to sway public opinion in a way that could threaten, listen to this, that could threaten public safety. De Silva was separately charged by ACP Gavin Henry for disorderly behavior, contrary to Section 52.2 of the Summaries Offences Act. This disorderly area by what? Calling the police officer a woman or be acting like a woman? So they can't take any kind of talks at all nowadays, police officers. Well, these gods are telling you, gods unto all yourself, eh? All righty then. Breaches of the emergency powers regulations carry single penalties, including fines of up to $100,000 and imprisonment for up to 5 years. Yes, people, looking like they want to imprison Jason De Silva for standing up for his own rights and standing up for the rights of his fellow citizens. That's how evil this government has become. My response, although I've already given certain responses already throughout this entire report, Queen Kamala is becoming an even more evil tyrant than Rowley. Emperor Thanos Rowley. Now we have Empress Thanos Kamala. Which I thought was something impossible to do. I never thought we would have another evil leader like Rowley again. Was I wrong? I was definitely wrong. It's time to change the laws to prevent anyone over the age of 65 from becoming the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. We've seen it happen over and over again. Because Pandey was really good in the early two, and then Pandey started to go rogue. Rowley was never good. but became even more extreme in his second term. And Kamala was a wonderful prime minister, wonderful minister of education, but a wonderful prime minister. She made some errors in back then, and we should have seen the signs. You know, like how those crime shows usually say there were signs. Yeah, it had signs since back then. How she ended up trying to use the SOE and stuff like that. But I thought it was basically reasonable back then because it was a limited SOE that she used back then. But she wasn't moving like this dictator like she's moving now. I want to say far too many politicians become obsessed with ultimate power when they enter their senior years, and that is what I am noticing. Their personality significantly changes as they get older. It's like as though they don't want to let go. And I don't know if it's all about their humanity. I don't know if it's because they know their time is going and limited, and therefore they just don't want to let go of power. I don't know, because something in them changes drastically as they get older. UNC members outside there need to save the party now. Now is the only chance you have, eh? I'm telling you, I ain't no prophet. I have common sense. God bless me with common sense. UNC members need to save the party now by calling for a vote of no confidence in Kamala so that she can be removed from office. And if there's a legal, constitutional way to remove her from being the leader of the party as well, please do it. Please do it, and do it before you file for the motion of no confidence in Parliament, so that the process can be legitimate and no one can dispute it or take it to court. Because once she's removed as the leader of the party and then removed as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the president will have the discretion. She can use her discretion to be able to appoint another member, another senior member, probably a deputy leader whatsoever, of the United National Congress to finish off this 4-year term in office and give the UNC a chance to be able to win an election in the future. Because rest assured, people, don't think for a moment that you could say in 2030, well, sorry, you know, we were just afraid of Kamala and we didn't want to speak out, but we never approved of what she was doing. We never approved of how she became a dictator. You cannot say sorry then. It's either you take action now, legal action, people, because I know how devious this government is, and they might want to twist my words. Legal action. The vote of no confidence is legal. Trying to find a constitutional way to vote her out from being the leader of your party as well, supposed to be legal. And that is what I am calling for, to save Trinidad and Tobago from 4 more years of persecution under this woman who has gone rogue, and also save the United National Congress. Because I'm telling you, if you wait until 2030, you will no longer probably even have any seats in Parliament to be recognized as the opposition.
Weather report for Trinidad and Tobago on Sunday 31 St. May 2026. Trinidad and Tobago will experience fair to partly cloudy conditions with hazy skies and isolated morning showers. A significant concentration of Saharan dust will affect the islands throughout the day. Daytime temperatures are expected to hit a high of 30 degrees Celsius to 31 degrees Celsius. Overnight temperatures will drop to a low of 23 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. The day will feature a high heat index of 34 degrees Celsius. Winds will blow from the east to southeast at 10 to 45 kilometers per hour with occasional gusty conditions. Seas will be moderate in open waters. Waves will range from 1.5 meters to 2.0 meters in open waters and near 1.0 meters and occasionally choppy in sheltered areas. Spring tides are in effect, so mariners and beachgoers should exercise caution. Due to the significant Saharan dust concentrations moving across the islands, air quality will be compromised. Anyone sensitive to air quality changes or suffering from respiratory ailments should take all necessary health precautions.
International news now. 8 roller coaster riders were stranded near the top of a Texas amusement park ride for more than 3 hours before firefighters could bring them down. When I saw the video, and they were basically backward, that I could imagine how they were feeling, but I would have felt like I going crazy. I ain't lying to tell you that. Not to mention, I'm afraid heights. I would have never gone on that in the first place. You ain't getting me to go on those kind of things. I'm afraid of heights. The Iron Shark coaster of Galveston's Pleasure Pier malfunctioned during its climb, leaving passengers stuck nearly 100 feet above the ground. Wait, but those passengers need to be compensated. Not just refunded, but compensated significantly as well. Video captured the dramatic rescue as firefighters used a ladder, truck, and harness to remove riders one at a time.
Bible quote of the day. John 13:33-35 NKJV. Little children, I shall be with you a little while longer. You will seek me, and as I said to the Jews, where I am going, you cannot come, so now I say to you, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.